Steve Jobs was a master of controlling unpredictable situations. And he did this through the use of body language,
Amazing, incredible, extraordinary.
through the use of humor,
They looked so good you kind of want to lick them.
and of course, through the use of
Reality distortion.
Reality distortion.
The reality distortion field.
The reality distortion field.
He would bend reality and they would accomplish it.
So let's look at 3 examples of how Steve Jobs managed unpredictability and direct confrontation across his career.
Remarkable, unbelievable, phenomenal, awesome, terrific, magnificent.
Life is always unpredictable, but it's really how you manage that uncertainty that can really set you apart. And Steve Jobs took this concept to another level with his use of body language. Just take a look at this example from the 1980s, where Jobs and his inner circle are discussing the schedule for a product at a company retreat.
I don't think price is going to change the schedule that much. I think the real risk is in the technology, it's not in the cost.
There's another option. You can go to the spring of '88.
Yeah, we could. But the problem is if we do that, then no, that's not the worst thing. The worst thing is the world isn't standing still. So by the spring of '88, well, we want color. The technology window sort of passes us by, and all the work we've done, we throw down the toilet, we start over, and since we've proved we can't do something great in 18 months, why should we believe we could do it, a year later?
When it comes to that date affecting the design of the product, that's when we get into a rut. Real deep shit, because if we are unrealistic about this date, we make design decisions that we then have to go over, reiterate, throw out, start all over again. And you told us yesterday we have a past, and unfortunately some of us can't get rid of that past.
This is Joanna Hoffman, Steve Jobs' head of marketing and one of the few people who wasn't afraid to confront Jobs directly. Let's go back and take another look. Watch closely as he's challenged. He immediately shifts, nods, and then breaks eye contact. It's a question Jobs doesn't want to answer or even entertain. In fact, Jobs usually maintains strict eye contact with his audience and engages the crowd when he speaks instead of looking to the ground or over their heads. And so he begins to diffuse what is a very legitimate question, first by nodding impatiently and then by breaking eye contact altogether. And Hoffman knows exactly what Jobs is up to.
I don't care what you say, reality distortion is reality distortion, and it has its motivational value, and that's fine. And I think it has a very strong point and a very important value. However,
but is ultimately powerless to stay on topic because Jobs diverts or distorts attention away from the question.
I remember a past where we put out a list this long about the software that was going to ship with our product, as you recall. The list was formidable, and we all thought we could do it in 12 months. 15 packages.
First with his stance, then with his gaze, and then by denying the answer altogether by completely changing the subject.
So maybe what we ought to do, though, is say, I think we have to drive a stake in the ground somewhere, and I think if we miss this window, then a whole series of events come into play. We can't sell enough units in '87 to pay for our operating costs. Okay, word gets out that we're not doing that well. A lot of the credibility starts to erode. I don't know.
And this is something Jobs would do throughout his career, and it became known as reality distortion. But his use of it and his use of body language was to become even more subtle just 10 years later, in an even more confrontational situation.